Hello, and welcome to The Kosh. I'm your host, Timber Smith, and The Kosh is a podcast that spotlights people who've had an association with the Kosh or the surrounding Fox Cities area. Kosh listeners, how are we doing this morning? Hoping you're doing fantastic. I'm doing fantastic. This was a pretty awesome weekend. I got to do some pretty fun things this weekend that I'm going to share real quick here. For one, it is close to my daughter's birthday, and she came home. So I'm always excited when my daughter comes home. Dad-daughter time is valuable. I can't tell you how precious it is. And me and my daughter are tight, super tight. So like when she comes home, it just makes me super happy. So she came home and she brought her boyfriend and his sister, and which is her former goalie. So there's like this whole tight knit thing, and it was just awesome. And then as a family, we took off to Appleton yesterday and went to the soup walk. And I don't know if you know about this thing, but they have it annually, and it's basically a bar crawl for soup, and it is fantastic. You got to buy a ticket for it, and you wouldn't believe how good these soups are. But I'm going to talk about a little bit of this later on in this episode, because there's some stuff I got feelings about. Some things. But that's not why we're here. We are here because, as usual, and I think you know what I'm going to say, we have an amazing guest. Yes, we do. And I'm super excited. And so, oh man, I done messed it up because I forgot to ask how to say the last name, y'all. So there's going to have to be forgiveness here as I approach the name. And this week's guest is Jon Pethke.
It's the Jon Pethke.
Jon Pethke. Pethke.
Yeah.
Got it. Jon Pethke. Pethke. Ah! All right, Jon. I'm leaving the last name alone. I can handle Jon.
Yeah, that works.
All right. How are we doing this morning?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
I am super excited to have you here. And we're not going to wait to jump in. Let's jump in. All right. So, Jon, can you please tell us a little something about yourself and your connection to the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities region?
Yeah. So I live in Appleton over by Fox Valley Technical College. I had saw a colleague, Fanny G. She had posted online that she was on your podcast, so that's why I had reached out. And I work as a day job as an internal auditor for American Family Insurance.
Oh.
And then I teach veterans about small business development part-time at Fox Valley Technical College.
Ah, that's awesome. Okay, so you're part of that program.
Yeah.
What is that? The Venture
Center.
The Venture Center.
Yeah.
Okay, I know about the Venture Center. That's a really awesome program.
It really is. I went through it the beginning of last year, and that's how I met Amy Peesh. And
big shout out to Amy.
Yeah. And, this year we were talking earlier in the year, and there was a position posted. She has a lot on her plate. So I had asked if, I could fit that bill, and it worked out because like she's taught like veterans for years amongst many other people about small business development, and she has so much on her plate. So it was like a good opportunity because none of the other prior veterans wanted to, take on that role. So it was a good opportunity for me.
Okay. And you did just mention that you yourself are a veteran.
I am. Yeah, I was in the Air Force for 4 years.
Okay. What did you do in the Air Force?
I was an aerospace ground equipment journeyman. And
break it down for the civilians.
Yeah. It's a fancy word for a mechanic, honestly. And we had like a lot of specialized equipment that supported aircrafts. I wasn't like specifically a mechanic for the aircrafts, but to keep the aircraft going, there's a lot of equipment that needs to be used to operate it. So, that was what I did. And I was in Texas, I was in the country of Turkey for 15 months, and then finished out in Georgia.
Okay. And I wanted to say, because I shouldn't say I did. I know the least about the Air Force. I don't run into as many Air Force veterans as I run into Navy veterans and Marines. And so I wanted to ask you what your MOS was, but I don't think in the Air Force they call it an MOS.
I think I think everyone universally understands what that is.
What an MOS?
I think it's AFSC is what we called it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty sweet. And so that was through the venture program how you connected with Fanny?
Yeah, actually it was. Yep, definitely.
Have you had any bobo tea?
I haven't. I have had it before, just not from her establishment.
Bruh. You gotta go to uni.
Yeah.
It is pretty fabulous.
Yeah. Just been super, super busy.
Hey, I understand. All right. John, you ready to jump into the first segment?
Yeah.
All right. The first segment is called What in the World is Going On With? That's where you start with the phrase what in the world and you tell us what is on your mind.
Okay. What in the world is going on with Threads, the new like social media thing through Instagram?
Bruh.
Yeah, I just feel like there's too many social media options at this point, and for them to just like suddenly come out with another one, I was like, why is this necessary?
I understand, but I think from what I understand, and here's the thing, I don't know, and I don't use it. Like, I'm at that age category that basically Facebook. I'm a Facebook generation person, which secretly means I must be old. But from what I understand, what used to be Twitter and is now X, because of who that primary audience has shifted to, and I guess it's turned very extreme, particularly right wing extreme, that a lot of people don't like using it as much anymore.
Okay.
Different things popping up on their timelines that they don't appreciate and stuff like that. I don't know if they call them timelines. And so Threads was put as an option to it just because of the direction that X has started. I don't want to say the direction they're trying to create, because I don't know if it's a creation thing or if it's more of a just what happened thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what I heard.
Okay. Yeah. It's just another thing I have to keep up with.
I don't know. And I mean, I know they got a bunch of downloads initially, but then I heard it also, like, at the end of the day, like, there's a lot of people in limbo because there's people, they don't necessarily want to use X, and when they released Threads, it wasn't ready. So then it's kind of like, I'd use Threads, but it doesn't do all the things.
Yeah. Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. So, all right, that's fair. My what in the world is going on with is, what in the world is going on with serving a white chicken chili that has no chicken in it? No, seriously.
Bruh.
All right, so here's my story. So I shared with you, Kosh listeners, earlier that I went to the Appleton Soup Walk, downtown Appleton. Fantastic. 15 different places serving soups. And I like to think of myself as a soup connoisseur, right? So I'm going down to these places, and the soups were fantastic. All sorts of soups. Dessert soups, other savory soups, chicken dumplings and chilies, and just fantastic soups. And there was one soup we went to, right? Now, me personally, if you know me, Kosh listeners, I do chili. I know a little something about chili. I don't want a couple of chili contests, particularly for my white chicken chili. I have award-winning white chicken chili. And so what this does is, I like to go out when I'm out and about and someone has a white chicken chili. I usually at least want to try a cup of it, right? Just because I want to, find out what other people are doing with their white chicken chili, so in case I got to up my game, I kind of have some ideas, know some directions to go with, right? So I was excited about going to get this white chicken chili. and I'm with, there's 4 of us doing the soup walk. We go to the establishment. We get our sample cup of soup, and it had nothing in it. It was just broth. It was basically a shot of soup. I literally shot the broth. There was no bean. There was no chicken. There was just nothing. Now, here's the worst part. The broth was good.
Bruh.
It was tasty, but there was nothing in it. And at first I thought maybe it was one of those scenarios where like maybe you get a bad scoop, but all 4 of us got nothing in it.
It's disappointing.
Oh my God. It hurt my feelings. I'm sad that they disrespected the white chicken chili in that kind of way. I think it's disrespectful to white chicken chili. The whole point of chili is chili. I believe the definition is lots of stuff in it.
Yeah, basically.
Right? That's the whole point of chili. Chili has texture. It has things in it.
Right.
And this did not.
Yeah.
It was wrong. So I feel some kind of way about it.
Bruh.
And I just had to bring it to the Kosh listeners here on what in the world is going on with. So, and if, I'm not going to call out no names of any establishments because this was a soup walk. This isn't what they do all the time, right? So I'm not saying this is their food. This was what they created for the soup walk. But, I mean, if you going to put down that you're making white chicken chili, can we please put some substance in the chili?
Fair.
All right. So that's my what in the world is going on with. All right. We're on to the next segment. This segment is called Word Association. This is where I'm going to say a word and you're going to tell us what comes to your mind, John. So, and we always like to start off with the unifying word, the word that bonds us all, the word that brings us together. And that word is food.
Food. Yes. Definitely not going to say curry or chicken broth. Yeah, I'm going to say curry. Yeah.
Curry?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, break it down. Is there a place you particularly like to get curry? What is the kind of curry you like?
I like all of it, honestly. And I think I developed a love for it when I was in Turkey. Probably I've never had better curry since I left Turkey, if I'm being honest. But in the general area, I think my favorite place is the Jerk Joint in Appleton.
Yes.
Yeah, they have really, really good curry. There's not a lot of curry places I find in the area. I don't think, not that I've found at least, but I think my favorite place is definitely the Jerk Joint.
Hey, I'm going to give a big shout out to Rod and Faith. That is one of my favorite establishments by far. They just have fantastic food.
They do. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I love how that place smells when I walk in. And they smoke meat. Yeah. Superbly.
Yeah, I just went and physically ate there for the first time. Normally, I've always gotten it to go, but they have a nice place.
Yeah, it's a good time, and they're just good people.
Yeah.
Okay, curry. Well, you know what? We might need to connect because I know some other curry options in Appleton.
Yeah.
All right. Cocktail or beer?
I'm gonna say Notes from Gordon. I was at a conference in Vegas like 2 weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to go to Hell's Kitchen. Really, really good food. But I got this recommendation from someone at the conference to get a drink called Notes from Gordon. And it's this cocktail, this gin cocktail. I don't actually like gin that much, but it was like fantastic. I actually ended up buying all the ingredients for it just so I could make it myself. It's gin, lemon, orgeat syrup, which is almond, peach, soda. I think that's... Oh, the gin is infused with like a tropical green tea. So good. Super good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who shared with you about this?
It was someone at the conference. I had mentioned that I had gotten reservations at Hell's Kitchen, and they were like, "Oh, you need to try this drink," and it was definitely a good recommendation.
It lived up to it.
Definitely.
How many of them did you have?
2.
You limited yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have a normal go-to?
Whiskey and Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said whiskey and Coke like the whiskey doesn't matter. Do you got a favorite whiskey?
The whiskey doesn't.
No.
Nah. Yeah.
It's about the Coke.
No, not really. I don't know. Like I'm cheap. I'd probably go for Kessler.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Kessler is like I don't know, like that's just a Wisconsin fundamental staple.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right. Concert.
Craig Owens. I'm going to see Craig Owens in December with a buddy. I grew up with him as an artist. He was the lead singer for a band called Chiodos, and now he does like a lot more of his own, like just single stuff. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to going to see him. I bought like the VIP ticket, so I get to like, actually meet him and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do not know who Craig Owens is. What kind of music is it?
Like emo rock. Yeah.
Okay. Does he tour all the time, often?
I probably like on an annual basis, I'd say. He just came out with a new album, but yeah, I wouldn't say like constantly as much as like maybe a bigger artist would. But he does tour periodically.
Are you traveling to go see him, or is he coming in the region?
He's coming to Milwaukee, so I'm gonna travel a little bit, not far.
All right. That sounds like a good time. Streaming.
American Horror Story. I've been rewatching the previous season since the newest season just came out, so looking forward to like watching the new season.
I've never watched any, but I mean, it seems like it got some pretty interesting people because Lady Gaga was in it, right?
Yeah.
And is this season Kim Kardashian's in it?
Yeah, she is, which I heard she wasn't like bad in so far, so that'll be interesting to see.
I actually heard she was legitimately good.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
That is also what I heard.
What is it about that you like?
I like the horror aspect. Honestly, I like a lot of horror stuff, even if it's like bad horror, like B movies and stuff. It's just always been something that like me and my friends have gotten together and laughed at or watched and enjoyed a lot.
What's your favorite horror movie?
I don't know if I have a favorite horror movie. I feel like it goes by like years more so. Like what was my favorite horror movie that came out in the last year? So like I don't know what that would be, but I think like a couple that come to mind in recent years was Hereditary was really good. Another one that was like really indie and unique was it's called I Am Not a Serial Killer. Yeah, it was really cool. It gives off like it's like a good time this time of year movie to watch. It's very autumn, fall, winter type. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, I Am Not a Serial Killer.
Yeah.
Where do you find that? Is that a Netflix or Hulu or Amazon?
I want to say that you could go on Tubi right now and watch it for free, I think.
Tubi.
Yeah.
All right. I need to get into this Tubi thing because there's a lot of people finding these movies and they're awesome.
Yeah. They have a lot of like really good stuff for free. Like you just have to watch like ads here and there, but it's not really that much of a big deal to me, at least.
All right. I don't know if it's categorized as a horror flick, but my scariest movie of all times is Get Out.
Oh, that was a great movie. Yeah.
That movie, it for all sorts of personal reasons, it sits in my soul as the scariest thing that I have ever seen in my life.
That's fair. Yeah.
And if you, Kosh listeners, if you've never seen Jordan Peele's Get Out, I challenge you to go watch that movie and send me your sentiments. Yeah. Tell me how you feel about it. I took my wife to go see that when it was out in the movie theater, and to this day she still looks at me cross-eyed like, why did you take me to go see that? She was not happy with me.
That's funny. Is she not like horror movies?
She is. She's very much into Halloween.
Okay, cool.
Every year in the first two, right? She likes the original stuff, but also likes the Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
Which I love the first two Rob Zombie.
Though, yeah, those are actually my favorite reiteration of any of them. Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job.
I think so too.
Yeah, I mean he did it justice. So so every time this time of year, like there's a couple of things in our house that like when it's certain seasons we put them on and they're just on all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So during Halloween season, that is Halloween. If there's some channel, just streaming back-to-back episodes of Halloween just is playing. So
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's a good series. I'm not mad at Halloween. Michael Myers, that dude's on some stuff.
I think he's probably my favorite, like, original Halloween person compared to like Freddy or Jason or any of them. I think he's probably like my favorite serial killer guy.
That's fair. Now, Freddy was initially when I was a kid, Freddy was the scariest thing ever to me.
Yeah.
Well, something about that dude being in your dreams.
Yeah.
Like that dude, and then he kills you in the dream and then you're killed. Like that was on some real different kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Freddy was scary to me. Shop local.
I will say I don't know if this is I know this isn't local, but I don't shop a lot, so I'm gonna say Fleet Feet.
Fleet Feet.
Yeah.
They're local.
I mean, like they are local, but they're everywhere also, I think. So
all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never shopped there, but I know a lot of people do, and like they're big into shoes.
Yeah. And I'm not like a shoe guy either. I've just been running a lot, and I was having like a lot of feet pain, and the doctor recommended like, get better arch support. So I went there and I bought shoes, and it like fixed the problem. It was awesome, actually. Yeah.
Is that simple?
It was, honestly. Yeah, like the arch support thing just like completely took away the pain.
Did you get some of those shoes that everybody's wearing right now? Do you know what I'm talking about? There's these certain running shoes.
Are they Hokas?
Yes.
I did. That's exactly what I bought.
That's exactly what you bought. Like, because I've seen everybody and their mother wearing these things.
Yeah.
Even though they look crazy.
I think they look okay. I don't know. Maybe I went with like the simplistic style.
They don't look bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it fits right in there with like Uggs and everything else.
Yeah.
In time, like Uggs are a wonderful shoe.
Yeah.
But at the time you looked at them and thought,
yeah,
Ugg. I wouldn't disrespect them like that now.
Yeah.
Because it's a fantastic shoe. And my wife and my daughter swears by them. But those, they're called Hokas.
Hoka, Hoka.
Yeah, like everybody and their mother has a pair now.
Yeah.
And like they came out of nowhere. I feel like
I agree.
Like they're beating up New Balance. Like the people that normally would have been wearing New Balances before, now they're wearing these.
Yeah, I don't know. It was worth the money, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fleet Feet.
Yeah.
There's one in Appleton?
Yep.
Okay. All right. We're just going to throw that out there. So if you need good arch support,
yeah,
check them out.
Definitely.
Diversity.
I'm going to say marketing, and mostly because I'm trying to learn a lot about marketing right now. So marketing to a diverse array of people is what comes to mind.
What are you learning?
I don't know if I'm learning anything the right way, if I'm being honest. So many people. Everyone that works in the marketing field is they definitely are like, they all have a different opinion about what is the best way to market. So, if I market one way by somebody, if they say to market one way and then I talk to somebody else, they're like, no, don't do it that way, do it this way. So I don't know if I'm learning anything correctly, but I'm learning a lot. So
okay,
yeah.
All right. Are you getting marketing assistance right now?
Not really. No, it's more just me figuring it out.
All right. We have somebody for you.
Yeah, I would love that. I would definitely love that.
Actually, I think 2 episodes ago, we had someone in here that specializes in particularly like digital and social media marketing.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to connect you.
Appreciate you.
Okay. Not a problem. That's what the Kosh does.
Yeah.
These fantastic things. Oh, wait, before we go on off of that one, what are you trying to market?
I am trying to market. Last year I came out with, or I started this company called Introverts LLC, and last year I partnered with Code Glow Technologies out of Milwaukee, and together this year in May we released CoyAmore, which is the dating app for introverts.
Okay. We're going to talk more about that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. I don't want to dig too far into that. I just wanted to make sure that that's what your marketing was being geared towards at this time.
Yeah.
Bruh.
All right. Last word, resources.
Networking. Amy, who I mentioned earlier, she always says, if you're not networking, you're not working. So I'm constantly trying to network because I pretty much at every networking event I go to, I find that there's a resource in some way that I can get from that networking event.
It's true. There's a lot of power in networking and connecting. I find that you don't have to work as hard if you can meet the people who are gifted in the things that you're not.
That's true.
And maybe it's not necessarily working directly with them, but usually they'll give you just a hint of knowledge, just enough to get you going down the right path, or maybe they can connect you to the right people. Like, I find a ton of value in networking. A large part of what I do professionally truly involves hardcore networking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. We're off to the next segment. And that next segment is called the Kosh Hidden Gems. And what that is John, this is your opportunity to tell us about a hidden gem that you found in the Kosh or the surrounding Fox Cities region. Something that maybe no one knows about as a resource, or maybe something everyone knows about, but they don't know this particular thing about it.
Yeah. One thing that I thought of, have you ever heard of Hughes in Oshkosh?
Are we talking candy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I went there as like a child, and I remember like it's just like in the middle of like a neighborhood, and you wouldn't even know it that it's a candy place because it's just like a house, and they make the candy in their basement, and I always thought that was kind of like a hidden gem, I guess. Maybe it's not, but that's what came to mind.
What I will say is, if you're from Oshkosh, it's not hidden.
Okay.
but if you are not from Oshkosh, it's very much hidden.
That maybe is why I think of it as a hidden gem, because
right?
I am not from Oshkosh.
Because that's really the key. Like, if you're a local, like my wife's a local,
sure,
like that's par.
Yeah.
Like, that's very much like that. But if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And there's always these amazing articles about used chocolate.
Okay.
But their chocolate is fantastic.
It's really good. But otherwise I don't really have any hidden gems apart from that. It's the only thing I could think of.
Oh, no. I think that is fair, because guess what? There's a lot of people who listen to the Kosh from all over the place. Some are from the Kosh, and some may be visiting the Kosh or living in it, but they're not born and raised it. And I think used chocolate is a fantastic thing. My wife goes there like every Easter.
Yeah, that's what we did too.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing?
I think we always just got like those like chocolate Easter bunnies. Yeah.
Yes. There's these I want to say there's nests too, like these chocolate nests
I could see
have
that.
like jelly beans and stuff in it, and like they're fantastic. Yes. So now you bring up candy, that will be on my mind, and we might need to make a trip to use. Okay. next segment is, what does the Kosh need? This is your opportunity to tell us something that you think this region might be missing or that it needs.
Oh, okay. I'm not 100% sure. I got a chance to, I looked over your website beforehand, and I think it's very well designed and everything. The only thing that I noticed that I think that you could just like include on there is like what your reason for like doing the Kosh is. I know you try to connect people through in the surrounding areas, but I think a lot of people like to read like what your value is and how what you're trying to, what your aim is with the podcast. I think that could be, good to have on there.
Oh, okay. Yes.
It's almost like your branding.
Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm still figuring that out.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely.
What I will say that is the Kosh was very much just created out of, as I like to call it, my curious geekdom.
Yeah.
I like buying tech and playing with tech. And there was a point during like COVID-ish times, and I really wanted to buy podcast equipment. That was cool. It.
Yeah.
I just really wanted to buy podcast equipment because I wanted to buy some, because I found podcasting fascinating, and I just wanted to toy around with it and understand it. And that's what I do with tech. So you buy tech, I'll toy with it, see if I like it, I keep it, and if I don't like it, I sell it before it really loses a lot of value, right? And so that was my podcasting journey. And then once I got it, I was like, oh, I guess I should start one.
That's awesome.
Right. And so then I was like, okay, got to start a podcast. And then I sat for months trying to figure out, well, what do I start a podcast about?
Yeah.
Right. And what I came up with was, one day I was sitting listening to the radio, like legitimate the radio.
Yeah. And
then that hit me. Instead of trying to create something for an audience that's national, international, or any of the things, but radio has been around forever, and their focus point has always been regional, close regional, True. Right? And so I was like, why don't I just create a podcast that focuses on the people around here?
Yeah.
Particularly like the Kosh and the surrounding 5 cities area. And that was it. So really, the point of it, and maybe I need to figure out how to better describe this, is just to get to know your neighbors.
Yeah.
To get to know the talent in the region.
That's a lot of what you just said is, probably simple enough, just to that could be good enough, maybe in different wording or whatever. But I think people would, who check your podcast out would value understanding why you're doing it.
Yeah, that's good advice. I'm gonna take that one in, and I'm gonna call you, and we're gonna write. No,
I'm happy to help. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Help.
See,
yeah.
I like that. I like that. Okay, well then, consider yourself in the helping, in the helping team.
I am happy to.
All right, fantastic. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Okay, we're gonna take a quick commercial break.
Did you know there are children in the Fox Valley in need of hearing aids, but their parents struggle to provide them because of lack of insurance or high copays? I am Juliette Sturkins, audiologist and board member of Here in the Fox Cities, and proud that this small local nonprofit organization has helped fund hearing aids for some 30 kids. Your donation would help more children hear. Visit hereinthefoxcities.org to learn more and to see their smiles. Every child deserves to hear.
Okay, we're back from our favorite commercial, our only commercial, but yet still, hey, Juliet, our favorite commercial. We appreciate it. at this time, we're going to move into the next segment, and that segment is called Story Time. And this is where our guest has an opportunity just to share a story with us about absolutely anything. So, okay. John, what do you got?
I am not a good storyteller.
We got faith in you.
How do I be entertaining? Okay. So I said I was a veteran. Basic training sucked. I think most people who have gone to basic training, it was not enjoyable, but
facts.
There were some funny things that came up. MTIs, military training instructors, I don't know how they do it, where they have to just switch up their personality to like yell at, the newcomers constantly and just like make stuff up. But kudos to them. So, we had our 3 square meals that we would have to go to. And I remember getting in line, I think it was for lunch or breakfast. I can't remember which one. But I'd usually get grapes. I remember always getting like grapes in like my bowl. And there was this one MTI who decided that I was his new victim at some point along the way. And so every day for like, I don't know, I don't remember how long, but it was, maybe it wasn't every day, but it was periodic. And he would come up to me like out of nowhere and just get in my face and ask me how many grapes were in the bowl, like out of nowhere.
Bruh.
And, it's kind of a funny thing in hindsight, thinking about somebody getting angry at you for, just not knowing how many grapes were in the bowl. Because I think they scooped them into my bowl. So it's like, well, I would have to count them. And so eventually I did count them. And he didn't come every time, I remember. So it was just like, I hope he doesn't come today, but if he does, I'm going to know. And eventually he did. And after I answered it and I had like the answer immediately, he just like stopped, he stopped permanently. Like he looked confused and then like walked away, and then I never had to deal with him again. So
I can't believe you counted the grapes.
Yeah. Well, anything to get away from that.
Hey, I totally understand that, but I think it's fantastic that you counted the grapes and you perplexed the drill sergeant.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
I'm sure they're always trying to think of new ways to just screw with them.
Oh, yeah, they're good at it.
Yeah, they are, clearly.
Mine was my last name.
Okay.
Because I'm a Smith.
Sure.
So what would happen is I had a drill instructor who had a stutter.
Okay.
So he'd get worked up, right? And he's yelling at us all, right? And he's just yelling at the whole squad. And then he starts stuttering. And then he'd be looking at a different soldier, but then he would say Smith.
Okay.
And so then he'd get mad at me. And he would be like, Smith, Smith, why are you always in my mouth? Smith, why are you always on my mind? I can't stand you. Smith, get down there and give me push-up. And he would just lose, like veins would be popping and stuff. And I'd be like, man, I didn't pick this name. I didn't pick this name. I wish you could call someone else's name and be mad at them. But he was so mad and it literally was just like, I think it was because of his stutter that he would have to say something to pull him out of the stutter.
That's so funny.
And for whatever reason, Smith was what he would say that could take him out of the stutter.
It's probably like easy to say for him or something.
Yeah. And then boom, I'm in trouble.
That sucks.
I'm in trouble. And then whoever was near me was probably in trouble too, because that's just how that works.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So shout out to my partner in crime and basic training, Mr. Jason Moon. He was part of that crew.
Guilty by association.
Yeah, we did some things. There's some good stories there. Okay, grapes. Love it. All right. Well, we're on to the main part of the show. Every time. Love it. Every single time. It is time for Topic of the Week, and Topic of the Week is chosen by our guest 99.9% of the time, which means almost every time. This is the opportunity for our guest to pick a topic and share with the Kosh listeners about. So, John, what's your topic of the week?
My topic of the week is my app.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll go along my journey with it. So, like I said, I started Intro in March of last year, and it kind of all started with just like a conversation I was having with some friends in my office about dating and dating apps, and I just said that I wish there was a dating app for people more like me, and he said, James said, why don't you make one? And I didn't know anything about business at the time, but I was like, well, I'll look into it. I was in a comfortable spot in life, and I thought, why not? Let's shake my life up. So I did a bunch of research and found that there wasn't really like a heavily focused app for introverts. So that's where the journey started. I'd say that one of the hardest things to find was like a development company that I wanted to make it. There's just so many options out there. It's pretty difficult to find what you're looking for, especially with everyone being a salesman. You don't know how focused everyone is on actually helping you versus getting money.
Sincere.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, but I found one that was local, and I was happy about that. And we made the app. It took roughly 12 months. We started in May of last year and finished it in May of this year. And the whole premise of the app is, like I said, for introverts. So, as an introvert myself, and I'm sure many other people relate to this, but I don't want to be around people constantly, but I don't want to be alone forever either. And the dating experience can be extremely exhausting, especially on the modern day apps. All of the popular ones, they focus on getting as many users as they can, pretty much. Whereas, like, if you're a niche app, you're focused on a niche community. So with that, the community that I'm trying to serve, it's kind of like a double-edged sword with if you are an app that's trying to gain as many users as possible, because the extroverts, a lot of extroverted people will just join the app, and if you're an introvert who wants to date an extrovert, that can work, obviously. But if you're not, then you might stray away from those apps because they're just flooded with extroverts. So especially for introverts, they could use extra help in general with their tendencies and how they are as a person. So our app is, focused on trying to help that in creating a community, for one. Secondly, we want to make features so it makes it easier for them to date. We only have one because the initial development, I could only fit so much into it. So our initial introverted feature is called the blind date feature. And what that does is when two users match, there's a toggle option, and if a user toggles it on, it lets the app know that they're ready to go on a date with the other person, but it won't let the other person know. And if that other person toggles it on, then the app will then let them both know that they're ready to date each other. So it kind of takes away the fear of asking people out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to dig a little deeper into this, particularly the part about being an introvert and just understanding that better.
Yeah.
Because I think the term is utilized a lot, and I think I don't know if everyone really understands.
Yeah, it's not like a directly fluid description, but I think introverts and extroverts use their energy in a very specific way, and that's kind of the thing that I like to focus on. Extroverts seem to have like a lot of excess energy, or at least they express it more outwardly, whereas an introvert, maybe they just choose to use their energy in specific ways that aren't overwhelming for them. So whereas like it kind of went with our logo. That's kind of how I thought of that is, so our logo is a heart within a thought bubble, whereas an introvert or an extrovert maybe like it would maybe be a heart in a chat bubble. So introverts are typically more internal, and the people they do want to talk to, they'll choose to use that time in that manner, as opposed to like in a group setting, they may watch versus talk more so and, observe. But yeah, I think it really goes into how they expend their energy.
Is this public yet?
Yes.
Have you utilized it?
Yeah. I create a profile almost once a week, and mostly just to test the app out a lot. I would use it, I guess, for myself personally, but I would need to almost create a second profile just because my initial use right now is just to make sure it's working. I'm always trying to break it, so if there's anything wrong with it, we can fix it right away.
What are observations that you've made or that you've had since creating it or rolling it out?
Observations like with its functionality.
I'm actually more curious about people.
Okay.
How do people, have you seen any trends or anything with the utilization or what people, is there an option for people to tell you what they like or would like the app to do? And maybe it's not exactly what they want or complete, or maybe it is. What have you heard?
Yeah. The feedback I've gotten is all over the place. I don't think that users typically like, and I don't think this is solely for my app. I think it's a couple of things. One, I don't have a large user base at this time since we just came out. But I think a lot of users will, not choose to just like give the feedback. Like they'll just be silent about it essentially, just because it's, like another thing they have to do, which I get. Like no one wants to put in work to help naturally like an app win. But so a lot of it is just like trying to get a bigger user base. But the things that I have received positive feedback on is like our match algorithm is based on like the 5 universal love languages. So users match based on, who pairs better there. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that. But not a huge user base at this time to get a lot of feedback yet.
Okay. So is there now, because I find this interesting in the sense of, okay, if your audience is introverts, how do you reach them?
Yeah.
Yep. Right. Because my understanding, and there's parts of me that I feel are introverted, that, if the goal is not to necessarily have these huge social interactions and to I like what you said about energy and the utilization of energy, because I think that's a great way to put people who are introverts. How are you going to connect with these introverts?
It takes a lot of marketing, and it's difficult, mostly just because I'm bootstrapping it. So without funding, it's hard to market strongly. Whether or not you're an introvert, introverts still use all forms of social media and online different things like that. Any kind of, it's almost impossible to get away from any kind of marketing in today's world in some way, shape, or fashion. It's on everything in some way. So it's just a matter of finding those right directions to go. It's not easy.
And now I'm curious, what would happen if extroverts get on the app?
Yeah. So right now that's, we encourage extroverts to get on the app if they think their partner is, an introvert, opposites attract. Introverts may want to date extroverts too. That's definitely a realistic thing to expect.
Yes.
We don't want to, not have that, but, eventually with more development, one of the initial things we're going to do is essentially add a part of the sign up phase where you put what you identify as, and then the only thing that we would stop is extroverts pairing with other extroverts on the app.
Okay. So, what does a pairing look like?
Yeah. One of our features is unique. So Tinder patented the swipe, so people can't use that like as a connection option, really. And we could have gone simple with like just a check mark or an X to like match or not match with somebody. But I felt like there was a opportunity for improvement a little bit. So you can focus more when you're, I guess, matching with people. So it's not so easy to just match with someone. So on the bottom of the screen as you're scrolling, it's an up and down scrolling motion. We have a heart on the left side of the screen and a thought bubble on the right side, and you have to tap the heart, drag it over to the cloud or the thought bubble, and drop it there. And that's how you actually match with somebody. And this promotes a couple things. One, like I said, focusing more instead of just like mindlessly swiping like other apps may have. And then it's also more difficult to accidentally match with someone, which is pretty common. So that's kind of like how a user matches with another person. And then if you don't want to connect with someone, we did just keep like the simple X. So, but we have options to, if you do accidentally match, you didn't want that, you can, we call it retract, essentially go back and undo it essentially. We also have, a reveal option if you're not subscribing, and you get a like, you can't really see their profile, and you can reveal it once to like see. And it's a free app, but we have subscription options if you want to get more of the available services. And otherwise it's pretty basic. Apart from that, there's more. I already have plenty of introverted features that I want to incorporate in the future. It's just going to take time. So right now my main focus is like just trying to get as many people to know about it as possible.
Okay. Name of the app again?
CoyAmore. That's CoyAmore.
And where can they find it?
Yeah, so it's on both stores, the Apple Store and Android. We have a website, and on the website you can find out more information. There's a blog.
But you can't use it from the website.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It's strictly a phone app, and then we're on all forms of social media at this time. So,
okay. What would you like to share with the Kosh listeners? What is your, what's your elevator pitch? What do you need from Kosh listeners?
Yeah. I don't know if it's an elevator pitch, but essentially, if you know anyone that wants to try it out, or an introvert or an extrovert that wants to pair with an introvert, give it a shot. We don't have a lot of users, but if you leave it up, somebody might join at some point and match with you. So, I'm just trying to help people connect.
And I think that's pretty awesome. Right? Okay. Ooh, let me ask you another thing now that I'm thinking about this. Age demographics, does this play anything into this in any kind of way? Because that's a serious consideration for a lot of people.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, our main demographic is probably going to be under the age of 40, between 18 and 40. But, you know, I did see a woman on there that was in her 70s already. So it's, you know, on any age.
Okay. All right. 'Cause I think that's another one, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a bunch of apps out there that they've decided they're going to focus in on this certain age demographic to try to match in there. Okay. So that is cool. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you would like to share with the Kosh listeners at this time?
I think the only other thing that I could mention is that, like, we did have an age limiter, or a mile limiter on the app, so you could only stay in one area, but I chose to remove that completely, and that's in the final stages of development and testing right now. So essentially, in the next month or upcoming weeks, if you get on the app, you know, you're going to see everyone, whether they're from across the, you know, in California or Florida or wherever. So you're just going to see everyone that's on there. And I just chose to do that so that way people can, you know, connect. And I may just leave it that way for a few years, or we'll see how it goes. But I just wanted people to be able to see that there are other people on there at least.
Okay. And you know what? Now that you mentioned that, that's another thing. So this is very much national.
Yeah, it's strictly just United States right now. But yes, it is a national thing.
Okay. Awesome. I think that's pretty sweet.
Thanks.
The idea of trying to, first of all, to be willing to create an app. I think it's so unique to focus in on the introvert demographic, because I definitely think there's something there. And yeah, I'm curious to see what you learn along the way. When people start connecting, what does that look like? And I'm hoping that you come one day with some really awesome connection stories.
Me too.
All right. Oh, is there... there's not a point. There's no testimonials yet, is there?
No. It's I would say, you know, we've been out since May of this year, and we're in the. I think we just got to, like, I checked yesterday. We were at like 400 and some users. So
that's pretty good.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. No, that's still pretty cool. Okay. Awesome. All right, Jon. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for talking with us about it. All right. At this time, we're going to start wrapping up. Kosh listeners, thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for giving us your minds and your ears. Thank you for wanting to check out something new in the community. I think that's so powerful. I just want to take a moment and say, we've crossed over 100 episodes, and without you, that would never have happened. So, oh my God, that's just amazing that we have grown in our listenership, that people want to know about their neighbors and the people that live in the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities region, and that we keep on trucking along, that we continue to grow. It's so cool that we have people listening and they're like, hey, I want to be on the Kosh like Jon here. And we get to learn about a dating app for introverts. So what I want to say to you is, you always know we are a work in progress. Please feel free to reach out to us if you would like to be a guest, or if you'd like to suggest a guest. And you can reach out to us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. And also, what we would like to do is to ask Kosh listeners, please take a moment, and if you're listening, just press the subscribe button. However you listen to the Kosh, press subscribe, and also leave us a review. You can leave us a review on our website, thekoshpodcast.com, or leave us a review right there in your listening, whatever app that you use to listening to the Kosh. What this does is it helps to improve our analytics. We think we have something really, really special here, And we want more and more people to be able to find out about the Kosh and learn about these cool people that live in our surrounding community. All right. So, okay, it's that time of the show. Yes. It is shout out time. So, John, you got some shout outs?
Definitely. I would say, in general, my family and friends always being supportive. Amy Peach, another shout out to her. She's been just monumental in how I have been able to figure out new things and learn how to, be an entrepreneur. Locally sourced food truck out of the Fox Cities. My brother owns that, and they've been very supportive as well. Mr. James Bolt. Without him, I probably wouldn't have started this in the first place. Chris, Zach, Greg, and any other supporters that have, helped me along the way.
All right. Awesome. Okay, my shout outs this week. I want to send a shout out to the team over at Lawrence. I got an opportunity to go to this amazing dinner with professionals of color in the region, and wow, it was just such a cool space. We as professionals of color in this region, we don't often get to just get in spaces where it's just us. And there's something that refills the cup, that refills the soul in these spaces where we get to be unapologetically who we are sometimes and be authentic to who we are. And so I just want to say thank you to Lawrence for hosting that. Want to send a shout out to the PAC. I went to Step Africa a while back, and wow, that was one amazing show. So if you ever see Step Africa pop up, let me just tell you, that is crazy good. The energy that was in the crowd and the way that the community participated in, and the community, how it showed up for Step Africa, crazy. So if you've never seen a step show in your life, check a step show out. And if you don't have a way to get to a step show, Step Africa is your way to see something that is highly entertaining, high energy, and has such amazing historical context associated with it. I want to send a big shout out to the Building for Kids, who just rolled out a new exhibit called Food to Grow. Check it out. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's that good. Actually, it's so good. Okay, I got to say a little something about it. Like, it's basically kind of like a marketplace for kids, but it goes from start to finish, from the growing of food to the selling of food to recipes to create things with the food. And the technology, the thoughtfulness, it took 3 years to make. Just the intent, the thoughtfulness, and the finished product of it is so amazing. I can't say enough about how amazing the Building for Kids team is, both the internal team who works every day and also the board who works towards these amazing concepts. All right. And then finally, I want to send a shout out to my partner in crime over there at the city of Appleton, Andy. Andy and thank you. You already know she is killing the game. Okay, so we are at the end of the show. This is your opportunity you got a couple of choices here, John. All right. Choice 1, you can give us some words of wisdom. Choice 2, you can tell us, what would yourself today tell your 12-year-old self? Or choice 3, or C, you can do both.
Okay. I would say I'm going to go with choice 1, and that is words of wisdom for anyone, entering into the entrepreneurial space or wanting to start a business in any way, shape, or fashion. It can be a roller coaster. So find good supporters and have a lot of patience, because nothing ever goes the way you expect it to. So that would be it.
Awesome. Okay. What did you think, John?
Awesome. Yeah, loved it.
All right. The Kosh.